And it is recording. Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing fantastic today.
Hello, Max.
Hey,
Hi,
Bunny, how's it
Richard.
going?
Hello, Max. Hello, Bonnie.
So we have our friend Richard Asselin, who is running for regional director for Calgary, who's in with us today. So I'd like to thank, on behalf of the UCP membership, thank you for being with us today in a series of interviews. So we have a series of questions that we had to ask to you to kind of present yourself to the membership and give a good idea of who you are, who you're running, to run as a regional director for Calgary. So thank you very much for your time. And without being said, without further ado, let's go through the questions. So first question is just talk about yourself, what you're up to, what's your background, who you work for, where you live, where you come from, that sort of thing.
Well, first off, thank you very much for the opportunity to be on this. It's great to get my name and my voice out. My name is Richard Asselin. I was actually born and raised out in BC area and moved out to Alberta in 1997. Out in BC, when I was graduated, I got involved politically. I joined the Reform Party of Canada, met Preston Manning, not that he'd remember, and I got involved with, I was an assistant to a member of parliament out there, Reform Party member of parliament. I was encouraged to run myself, so I ran for a local position. I ran to be a school trustee. It was the second largest school district in BC, Surrey, and I ran and was elected. There was 4 of us as Conservatives and 3 NDP members against us. The 4th NDP member is what we call the media, who is also, of course, on their side. And I kept involved in several federal campaigns out there, some local campaigns, some provincial campaigns. When I moved out I found that Alberta honestly agreed with me more than all the whining and complaining that came out of BC. And so I love the spirit of Alberta. Moved out here in 97 with my family, and I became politically involved in helping out on local, provincial, and federal campaigns out here. And from there, I spent most of my time in sort of a sales positions and senior management positions. I've worked for some big tech companies. I have also worked for a couple of startups in the fintech as well as the agricultural technology sector.
Nice.
And then just a few years ago, started my own company in fleet management and fleet technology. So I now own my own company in fleet technology, and that is what I'm doing. I am married, been married for 31 years, and yeah, that's right. Got to make sure. My wife might watch this. And I do have 5 kids. They are ages from age 21 all the way up to 30. So, and they're pretty much all moved out of the house by now.
Oh, that's awesome to talk with somebody who deals with technology just like myself. That's good. That's good to know. No, I love technology. I always been in technology since I was very young. So it's good to see people who are kind of related to the technology field. That's awesome. Next question, Bunny.
Have you had experience serving on any kind of board?
Well, I was on some federal conservative Reform Party boards out in many years ago. And then, as I mentioned, I was on a school board. I was vice chair and chaired some other committees on that school board. So I do have that. I've been less involved out here on the provincial side on boards, but I have. I spend a lot of time at all the pancake breakfasts, barbecues, and events that they throw.
Okay, so basically, you were involved in at the federal level, most likely, but from a UCP side, you're trying to get in board into the UCP. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. That's okay. We have candidates like this who've been there for a long time. There are candidates who are just entering the ranks. That's good. That's a fair assessment. Next question: have you? I think I'm going to skip that question, Bonnie, about is there any kind of war. I think he just answered that. I'm going to go with the next question.
Okay.
Why do you want to run for this position for the UCP board? The one
Okay.
from regional director.
Yeah. So I was I lived under the NDP in British Columbia. Hated it. They know how to destroy economies. If there's one thing they're good at, it's destroying economies. Rachel Notley was quite frankly depressing for this province. I don't want to see that again. I've been seeing increasing encroachment in the of the NDP in Calgary, and I will say that Danielle Smith has really sort of inspired me to say, you know what, she is conservative. She's actually living and legislating conservative values. Let's take the Calgary NDP seats and turn them towards UCP. And this is what I needed. This is what I needed to do. I think I know Calgary well. I know the people well. I know the area well. This would be a great fit.
Okay, that's good. That's fantastic.
Good
So
answer.
you're saying that's and we all hear a lot of people who have been in BC and they basically saying the same thing over there. That's awesome. Next question, Bunny.
Do you work for an Alberta MLA or for the UCP?
No, I do not.
No
Simple.
on both.
Yep, no on both.
That is good. All right, next question. Next question. To the best of your knowledge, what do you think that the role of the UCP board is?
Ooh, that is a good question. So first off, this isn't a policy setting board. Okay, there's a whole other committee just for policy, and there's all those resolutions that are brought forward by the CAs to these AGMs. So this is not a policy thing. So what the board is, it is a representation board. It ensures the voice of the UCP voters at the grassroots level get elevated up to the party level and to those MLAs into government. It is also a support board. So how can the board support the party and ensure they maintain a majority? And so that is, and in particular, this position, Director Calgary, is supporting the CAs.
The
That's
local
a great
CAs,
answer.
like the local CAs that are in Calgary specifically.
Correct. Yeah. In this, there's 26 CAs in Calgary. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're looking for, actually. Next question, Bonnie.
Do you have ideas on how to strengthen the relationships between the CAs and with the provincial board?
Well, number one is actually responding. So it sounds, but you know what? Sometimes the directors get really busy and sometimes they don't respond as quickly as they should or could. And sometimes they, if they're a shrinking violet, perhaps they don't get the voices of the local CAs down here heard up in Edmonton. So that's number one. Number two is actually providing assistance. So you want to strengthen the relationship between the local CAs and with the provincial board. Let's actually provide assistance. So the board has got a lot of experienced people on it. Let's bring some of that experience down to the CAs. In Calgary, I'm going to say this probably a few times, there's 26 ridings here, 14 of them are NDP, and some of the board, there's very strong boards, and there's boards who could use some assistance and some help. And there's a lot of expertise that can be brought down if they want it, if the boards want it, to help them. So that is where I think providing assistance so that we're all on one page and providing sort of unified messaging.
I like that.
Yeah. I cannot digress from any questions here, but I'm just going to ask this question because it's very common here in Edmonton. Kind of relate to what you answered. The regional board here in Edmonton, if I'm understanding correctly, they want to adopt this concept of they want to essentially make sure that the orphan CAs gets amalgamated into a bigger one so they can collaborate more effectively, like you're saying. Is that something that you're aware of that for the Calgary area?
I've been calling all the Calgary area presidents, and some of them actually have suggested that. In fact, one earlier today suggested exactly that. And I don't know if I'd say orphan boards as much as I mentioned, some are very strong, others need some assistance. One of the presidents said, what we'd really like to do is, we know we're a strong board. We've got a really good MLA here, UCP MLA, but the board, right next to us, the constituency there, they need some help. And I talked with that constituency president, and they said yes, and they would like to mentor those less active boards. And then when it comes to fundraising, they're saying, look, we're all in the same area. Let's have one big stampede party or one big pancake breakfast or one something, and so we'll share the labor. And we will share the funds and the membership drive and everything. So I think it is a great idea. I'm not a big fan of top down things where I'm going to impose this on you or this. My idea is to bring together, look, you guys need help. These other people want to help. Here's some great ideas that another board want to. Can we get together and talk about that? And that is my goal, is to, so working together, absolutely 100%.
Okay, understood. Um,
Maybe, do you have some ideas here? What can be done to facilitate the training and orientation of constituency association executives throughout the province? You've kind of spoken, I think, to some of this already, but maybe you have ideas.
Part of it is mentorship, but there is also, I've been talking with some other active members, and they said, you know what, there is a CA manual out there, and
yes.
it's something that a lot of them aren't using. A lot of them haven't even heard of it, or they've forgotten it. And if they follow those rules, and those ideas come from very experienced people and very experienced boards, and if we can help bring that to them and say, look, you're the secretary, here in this manual is what the secretary should do, and this is what the successful boards have done, or your fundraiser, this is what the successful ones have done, and this is what we can do, and can we train them and actively provide, like you were talking, real training. There is a manual out there for that. Let's use it.
Fantastic. Good question. That's good. Next question. I know that you're going to represent Calgary, so this is kind of related to same thing for Edmonton. Do you have any ideas on how to improve the relationships between urban and rural ridings? I mean, you're in Calgary, the southern. I know that the southern Alberta regional area stretches all the way from Airdrie down to the southern border, excluding Calgary. So, what's going to be your strategy to make sure that you can improve the relationships between the rural CAs and the regional, the urban CAs?
Things. Good question. A couple things, though. I don't believe there's actually a divide between UCP urban and rural. I think we actually have a pretty unified. This is where we're working towards what we want. There is, however, a rural versus urban demographic difference, and it's not an Alberta thing. It's not just a Canada thing. You see, it doesn't matter which country you go to. There is an urban and rural divide. It happens in Alberta. It happens in Ontario. It happens in Canada. It happens in the U.S. So, in terms of, I don't know that we have to do anything to help the CAs get together, apart from maybe meeting every once in a while and having an exchange of ideas. I think the AGM is a great part for that. But I would like to see some of the southern CAs meet with some of the Calgary CAs, and again, share some ideas and share some personnel and help on that front.
Okay, good. Good to understand. Next question.
With a round of legislative candidate nominations around the corner, what are your suggestions for ensuring that the selection process is a fair and transparent one?
Okay, so
big one.
That is a big one, and there's a lot of rumors around that. But let me say, it starts with having a strong CA board that is focused on party unity and UCP values. If you don't have that, then it doesn't really matter what's going to happen. It's going to be about power, and that is not what we want. So it starts with a strong constituency association board that is focused on party unity and UCP values. Then it requires a no-nonsense approach to people who are trying to game the system. And again, that CA manual, I don't know for sure it has something about that, but I'm going to say that there's a lot of other people that are experienced in higher levels of politics and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what we do in the past, and this is how we handle resolutions like this. And I believe in the UCP governance manual, I was just looking at that earlier, there is arbitration, a whole set of arbitration in there for how to deal with that.
Indeed, and even that needs a little bit of tweaking, and I'll have my eye on that, I think, for next year. I observed disqualifications of candidates the last time around on technicalities that were, quite frankly, nonsense. And what we need is people on the board who have the ethics to not do such things.
Yeah.
Ethics is and that's, you can't, there's nothing more I can say about that. Strong ethics, when I talk about a strong board, um, it's hard to have a strong board with an unethical people leading it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's, when I say strong, it's code word for ethical people.
That's good.
Exactly.
That's good. Next question. Some candidates were suggesting to focus on C8s where the margin between the NDP and the UCP was slim in order to win some seats in urban areas. What are your thoughts on that?
Want to repeat that question, Howard?
Yeah, no worries, no
I,
worries.
I didn't see that one on my sheet, but it's somewhere. I think might have
Yeah, that's good.
maybe that was the old one. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so the question is, some candidates were suggesting to focus on CAs where the margin between the NDP and the UCP was slim in order to win some seats in urban areas. So basically, like here in Edmonton, there are some people who are suggesting this idea of helping the CAs that are strong relative to the others that are less strong, should I say. Like there are some ridings they have a very slim margin between the NDP and the Conservatives, while other ridings are the margin between both parties it's much wider. So what are your thoughts on that? I don't know if you might if you understand.
That's a good question. So my big thing about running for Calgary director is election readiness, and that it's one thing right after an election things get a little loosey goosey maybe for a year or two, but right now we are heading into an election in the next 2 years. So what we need to do is get ready for it. We're being attacked by the unions, which is not a surprise because that's just a proxy for the NDP, and and the media is never on our side, never will be. So what we really, apart from guys like you, we're doing a great job. But so in terms of focusing on, focus the majority of your war on those ones for sure. But that doesn't mean you have to ignore the other ones as well. There was a point, don't forget, not that long ago, that the NDP only had 2 seats in Alberta. Okay. Why can't we bring that back? Right now we have 14 NDP seats just in Calgary. We can bring that back. And there is really no reason we can't do that with proper messaging, proper campaigning, proper work.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I understand your rationale. So your rationale is more trying to bring if I'm understanding correctly, your rationale is more like trying to work all the CAs anyways, given that's how Canada, the NDP started gaining seats. Yeah. So, okay, that's good strategy. That's good. That's
and to be fair, as you said, there are some places where it's a very slim voting margin. Absolutely, those are the ones where you want to put more effort where you can.
Okay. Oh, okay, makes sense. And that's completely fine. Bonnie, you got the big one.
I got the big one. Are you in favor of seeing an independence referendum put to Albertans?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm excited to have that come forward.
Excellent. Would you like to elaborate a little bit or not so much?
I am Alberta first. I am 100% Alberta first. My absolute minimum for Alberta, quite frankly, and my expectation for a Conservative Party is to be number one, Alberta first, and then implement some of those things that I think it was Stephen Harper back around 2006 articulated about the Alberta firewall, and that the Alberta Next panel were discussing. So we need to control more control over immigration, more control over income tax, more control over our police, so our own police force, as well as our pension plan. Quite frankly, the Alberta pension plan is a no-brainer. I understand why people are scared, but it is an absolute no-brainer for Alberta to do that. So those things are my absolute minimum. And I really quite like the sovereignists and the independent people out there, great people. And I want their voice to be heard, and I want the voice of Albertans to be heard. So let Alberta vote on it. Let those people go and have their say. And, the day before the vote, we're going to have Premier Danielle Smith. The day after the vote, it's either going to be Premier Danielle Smith again or President Danielle Smith, President of the Alberta Republic, one way or the other. And I will go whichever way the people of Alberta go.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good answer. It's a good answer. And that's the generality we get from candidates is essentially just that as well, too. Election readiness, I think we touched base on that about the 27th election, which is right next door. What do you think that we can do to make sure that we get a majority? Like, if you were talking strategy here, what if you were to put efforts into the next election in urban areas like Calgary or Edmonton, or specifically Calgary in this case, what would that be?
So number one is it's not top down. Each CA has different demographics and different issues, so we have to ask them what they need and where their weakness and strengths are. Number one. Number two, memberships, fundraising, volunteers, and strong candidates. If you focus on all those before the election, you will be ready for the election. And next is training, next is training, and next is training. Train everybody in there so that they know what their job is during an election, and you have the volunteers ready to go out and bang on doors, drop things off, make the phone calls, do what is required. The preparedness is more important than election day itself. The preparedness,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, and I would also say that you don't have to agree with every decision that the board or the government makes, but you should have some unified messaging and be willing to stand by the decision of the board. So I think it's important that there's some unified messaging going out so that everyone hears the same thing and they understand if you hear it over and over, it's great.
Absolutely. Any closing remarks?
I don't have any other remarks except thank you. This has been a really good interview. I'm looking forward to representing the CAs here in Calgary and Calgary Director. Looking forward to the AGM. I actually I want to meet a lot of the people I've been talking to in person. I think it'd be absolutely fantastic. It should be a really great time regardless.
And if you haven't been to an AGM before, my suggestion is to do it anyways because it's going to be it will be a great networking opportunity. I think everybody loves it, just because it's good to see like-minded people as well in one location. So, and it's good for networking and see all the candidates and that sort of thing. So I would like to thank you immensely for your time, and on behalf of the UCP membership, I'd like to thank you for your time, and we'll see you at the AGM, and good luck with your candidacy. So thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank
you guys have a great evening. Appreciate it.
You too. Thanks, Richard.